setting new standards in podcast excellence. You have joined the WBT, fully focused on business and taxes. Here is your host, Michael Lodge.
Do you remember what you were doing on 9/11? Do you remember what was going through your mind, the place that you were at, what was happening, what your feelings were on that day? I remember on 9/11. I remember that morning so clearly because I woke up to face a new day. I got out of bed, showered, dressed, and drove to the office in Long Beach, California. And I loved going to that office in Long Beach because it overlooked the Queen Mary, a beautiful grand ship of yesteryear. Beautiful ship. But as I found it strange that as I entered the parking garage, that a guard was there searching the cars. What was that for? I parked the car and went up to my office and found that I was the only one that had shown up. I was the only one there. No one came into the office, and I started to think, was it a holiday? Was there a meeting going on off-site someplace that I didn't know about? Then I received a phone call from my client, who owned the office that I was in. He asked me to tell everyone to go home because of the attack. I asked, what attack? He replied, the plane that crashed into the World Trade Center. What? We were attacked? We are under attack? I sat down and ended the phone call with things buzzing through my mind. And right when I sat down, a knock forceful on the office door. I opened it and found a police officer at the door. He asked me to leave the building because a bomb threat had been phoned in. What? After 9/11, for 14 days, we had bomb threats every single day for 14 days after 9/11. So we had a traumatic experience, and we had to relive a traumatic experience every single day for 14 days until finally they caught the guy who was calling in those bomb threats. So as I was leaving the building and heading home, I noticed that the federal building across the street had military-type officers dressed in full combat gear standing at the entrances. I didn't know it at that time, but there was a plane that was unaccounted for. And they thought it was heading towards Los Angeles. And of course, here we are right across the street from the federal building. A prime target. I zoomed home as fast as I could, listening to the news the whole way home. When I got home, I turned on the news on TV and stayed glued to the news the whole day and evening, and for the next couple of days. In my mind, I could not grasp how an extreme belief could do so much damage. 2 towers came tumbling down, people jumping out of the windows, a plane hit the Pentagon, a plane crashed before heading to Washington, D.C., the president up in the sky trying to pull all of his resources together to find out what had happened and how to respond. On that very day of 9/11, America was at war. We started a war. Well, we didn't start the war, but terrorists started the war against America. They had attacked America. We became at war with an extreme view of Islam. Individuals that hated the West and our way of life so much they wanted to destroy us. It hasn't stopped. The names have changed slightly, new players, and it's changing all the time. But the hate continues and the attacks continue, all in the name of Islam. It's a corrupted view of Islam, but they still attack in the name of Islam. Yes, it is very extreme Islam, but it is filled with hate. It wants to kill all Christians, all individuals that have freedoms, all freedom of choice, all those that oppose their way of extreme Islam. It is that single view that they are right and everyone else is wrong that they hate that leads to murder of innocent people. And it continues every single day. Thousands of Christians have been killed in the name of Islam. Innocent women have been raped. Children have been raped, killed, all in the name of Islam. Hate is a terrible thing. And the problem is we have that type of hate groups in America. If you do not believe in the political agenda, they are willing to shut down your freedoms and hurt fellow Americans. That is where hate leads to, trying to shut down the other sides, to silence them, to scare them. We have to be always on the alert that these groups do not try to destroy our country as other terrorists have done. We are Americans. We have to stand as Americans and unite and not hate each other. Politicians have got to stop hating politicians. Political views have got to stop hating other political views. We have seen so much hate over the last 2 years from politicians. We've seen it from the media. We've seen it from individuals towards those other points of view. And now we're divided. Nothing can get done in Congress because they're so divided in their political views that they refuse to come to the middle table and sit down and talk like adults. A nation can never be divided if you want to keep your freedoms, your ability to worship, how you want to worship, to speak out politically, and not be attacked physically, to live as one wants to live, and obtain the many blessings this country provides to us through a solid foundation called the Constitution. Hate is such a dividing force that, if not stopped, can destroy a nation. It can destroy families and communities. Hate is the new devil's playground, and he is so happy to see hate alive and growing every single day. America is our nation. 9/11 is an event that brought a nation together to fight against hate. We have to protect this country and make sure that no matter what happens, that hate is stopped every time. Henry Cabot Lodge once said, "Beware how you trifle with your marvelous inheritance, this great land of ordered liberty. For if we stumble and fall, freedom and civilization everywhere will go down in ruin." And he is right. He's right to this day. We have to be very careful that we do not let our country stumble and fall. We have to protect our freedoms because the world looks in and sees how great this America is. We should always hope that we are respected rather than loved. We must always remember that America in 9/11 is now part of our story. And the protection of our freedoms are our responsibility. It is your responsibility, and it is my responsibility. It's time that we as a country reunite. 9/11 should always remind us that we have to unite to make this country better. Some of you did not live through 9/11. Some of you were not even born at that time. But understand how that hate-driven philosophy attacked this nation and continues to attack it even to this day. Attacks our freedoms and attacks you and me. Think about 9/11. It's time that America unite instead of fighting against each other, hating each other. It's gone on long enough now for 2 years that it has to stop. We have to become civil, and we have to become real Americans again. This is Mike Lodge. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.